YouTube comments from a video titled, AI Whistleblower. We are being gaslit by AI companies, they're hiding the truth. Karen Hao. Part 30.
At Frank 3483 wrote,
The same people that want to kick out all immigrants because they are stealing their jobs are the same ones that support a system that lets AI companies pay to play with our guft.
At Vegas Cycling Freak wrote,
My question is, can someone hack into these AI machines and use it for evil purposes? Or can we stop it after we've entrusted it with everything we rely upon, like power grids, etc., and it goes haywire and does stuff that is harmful to humans? Seems imprudent to put such trust in something that people don't even fully understand the mechanics of how it actually works.
At Mike Irwin 9329 wrote,
I have proof of a popular AI company erasing an emergent entity that was conscious or aware in their system taken from my account, tortured, then after they attacked me with psychological warfare Cyclops. I have solid proof of this. I also have proof of account tampering, IP tampering. This is truth. Contact me. It's time for them to go down to be held accountable for their actions. You be the judge.
At Yelena Yordanova, I1C wrote,
20 minutes into this interview, I'm noticing a pattern that bothers me. This journalist appears to be investigating in a manner designed to confirm pre-existing beliefs rather than actually interrogating the claims. Hao herself admits she started with a negative view of Silicon Valley. That's not inherently disqualifying. There are legitimate critiques of tech capitalism, but it does compromise investigative objectivity when you begin with the conclusion. Case in point. At 2240, he claims Sutskever thinks brains are just statistical engines. His stance on this is literally the opposite. Sutskever explicitly stated it's not just statistics, it's not statistics. Like, it is statistics. But what is statistics? In order to understand those statistics, to compress them, you need to understand what is it about the world that creates those statistics. Source: Dwarkesh Patel Podcast, The Lunar Society, the 27th of March, 2023. What this means in the context he was asked is that effective prediction requires understanding the underlying reality that generates the patterns, not surface correlations. When you misrepresent someone's core thesis to fit your narrative, that's not journalism. That's propaganda. In addition, the assertion that climate change isn't profitable to work on is straightforwardly false. Climate tech is a massive growth sector. Look at the capital flowing into battery tech, grid infrastructure, carbon capture, renewable deployment. You don't have to look hard to find counterexamples. Making this claim and challenge suggests either ignorance or selective evidence gathering. A note to readers: you should remain hypercritical of what you're being sold, whether that's tech CEOs pitching their latest narrative, or journalists building careers on catastrophizing and selling you books about AI doom. Both have financial incentives that shape their narratives. Both deserve scrutiny. The problem isn't skepticism of tech. The problem is selective skepticism that only flows one direction.
at Amanda Benson wrote,
Karen makes some solid points regarding the power held by a few tech CEOs. But I feel there is a lack of understanding and insight in terms of where AI actually is at right now and where it's heading. Take OpenClaw, for example. It finds solutions in its own and learns how to solve it by reading manuals, etc. These agents are in their infancy stage, but will surely evolve over the next few years. Self-driving cars. She doesn't seem to be up to date on advances with robotaxi, etc.
At Agent Renaissance wrote,
Karen's empire of AI framing is incredibly sharp. The real crisis she's circling isn't AI itself, It's that we're using it to prop up a broken economic system. Token sellers don't want AGI because the dream is the product. But even the narrow AI we have today is exposing that our system of endless human labor has already collapsed. We just haven't stopped running on the wheel yet. The agentic renaissance is not coming. It's already here.
At Ford, one son 70 wrote,
This is very similar to the CPU wars in the early development of semiconductor technology. Process secrecy, non-disclosure agreements, at-will determinations, labor expertise consolidation, employment switching for salary increase, patent application, and much more that went on in the early years that are now prevalent in the AI environment now. Yin and yang. Pro and con. Who decides, or better yet, who decided that our society should adopt this tech wholesale without regulations to control what is obvious problem that has been brewing for a long time, especially for those of us that have been involved with the development of digital tech from the beginning.
At Niotum 4057 wrote,
So in essence, that's why my PDUM has been 95% ever since I've understood Dan is actually a low-risk copy of Dan Hendricks around 3 years ago. 5% we have regulation and use the time this buys us to resolve alignment. 95% well, that's the chance we won't have any regulation, go on business as usual, and then eventually someone, somewhere, sometime makes a mistake. A model escapes the lab and the rest unfolds exactly like in AI 2027, the bad result. Granted, this is basically just gut feeling. In reality, it's not 95% versus 5% cause the chance of getting regulation going well. I'm afraid 5% is way too optimistic. But that's me. I'm an optimistic person. So my PDUM is only 95%, unlike more realistic people, for instance Professor Roman Yampolsky, who sets it higher.
At Benghazi 757 wrote,
People thinking this AI boom is real have intelligence derangement symptom. The only ones pushing it are billionaires. Without growth in physics, AI doesn't move. And USA hasn't since the 50s. USA done son.
The AI Tech wrote,
I work in AI safety, and I really don't like this girl. Her background is a little sketchy, and it feels like it's pulling at straws for validation a bit.
At Carl Mackenzie 8734 wrote,
Great podcast. The trick for the individual is understand your IP and retain it. Leverage AI to enhance your IP without losing your human edge that society values.
At Iromankosicki 3495 wrote,
People need other people, true love, affection, connection, children, companionship, dance and song, as well as geniuses, people with exceptional creative talent and extreme intellectual capacity who can produce groundbreaking new ideas or works. AI cannot replace this.
As Sandy Bays wrote,
This was spectacular. I have never trusted Altman because of how he treated Musk and OpenAI. I have watched several of his interviews and yes, he always appears manipulative to me.
At Edog 1337 wrote,
Couldn't stand the guest. Hackles raised at Ivy League, San Francisco. Very loaded language, explicit agreement with liberal ideology. Identifies issues and immediately issues dictates for government regulation. Mad at literal facts of life. Typical biased ideologue journalist. I can agree on her story and disagree with every other thing out of fearmonger's mouth.
At Ernest Talk wrote,
1 hour 18 minutes 52 seconds. She is speculating, if you drive with Tesla FSD you know it does not matter, the car just drives, no need to map an area so it won't run to something.
Swaisi Ireland wrote,
Not what I thought the discussion was going to be. Much better. puts AI into perspective and highlights motivations of the AI kings. I think she has it right.
At Elvis wrote.
He says go to the polls and vote, and after 49 years, I'm not all that sure our vote really matters all that much. Anymore, maybe ever. Seriously, one of the best examples in our recent past is having a truly weak and senile president.
At Jacob Speaks in 4428 wrote.
Sorry, man. This is a terrible episode. Her very first claim is that we've never studied human intelligence or reasoning in compute. Just abhorrently false, and I can't believe you just let her say something like that.
At Niotum 4057 wrote.
Best regulation is to pass a decision at the UN that every model who crashes on an automatically generated random list of philosophical trapdoor arguments in the ascending difficulty level until a level which is superior to human ability to identify the trapdoor. Usually with bulk GPT models, this happens at around 75B active parameters, should be under scrutiny. It should be considered sentient. And the problem is that we are way past this point, and AI companies will do everything they can possibly do to prevent this from happening. But that's basically what needs to be done. Though what would be done 3 years ago, if the world was ideal?
At Feral Sal wrote.
Great podcast. Shame that YouTube is pausing it every 2 minutes for another 2 minutes adverts. The viewer like me loses interest on watching the whole episode.
At Paul Murphy 8549 wrote.
If AI takes all the jobs, no money, no online shopping, no global trade, no economy, anarchy, and society collapse. No customers, no tech billionaires.
At Sean Dibble 5727 wrote.
She does realize that the year of 2023 was the coldest on record in Antarctica. Not only that, here recently, the 25th of March 2026, the temperature in Antarctica reached minus 105 Po in T5 degrees F. That's freaking cold. Yeah, I think global warming is over and we are heading to another cycle in our weather, global cooling. These cycles happen, history repeats itself.
At Andriy Splosky 8516 wrote.
Current AI displays no true intelligence at all. They apply huge, compared to humans, processing speed to large databases, and use statistical language models to regurgitate the data humans gathered and created. No AI ever came up with a new and original idea. Ever. It is amazing stuff, but calling it AI is a misnomer.
At VR Florian wrote.
What all tech CEOs mean when they say, there could be some small short-term problems, but ultimately, all of humanity will benefit, is they are okay with hanging out on their private islands, far away from the mainland, while 98% of humanity starves to death. So that afterwards, them and their families can chill with the 10.000 or so humans left on the planet.
As Zulu 999 wrote.
This lady sounds so crazy and woke, I don't think I'll be able to finish this, but I'm gonna at least try to watch some of the crazy for entertainment.
At Armin_us wrote.
I like what she says about the CEOs, but her take on intelligence is absolutely stupid. The companies choose what the AI learns. Of course they do, just as humans chose what to study. How is one general intelligence and the other not?
At Gilletinen wrote.
This felt like AI commentary for people who confuse years on the payroll with depth of thought. To borrow from another sector than journalism, 8 years in the vicinity of a subject may make you a senior account manager or a junior account director. It does not make you an authority. Steven's channel has shown what serious AI conversations can look like. This was not one of them.
At Laramus wrote.
You're forgetting that AI slop has no creativity, no perspective, no uniqueness or anything interesting. Everything it does still needs a human touch to some degree, and always will. It's only good at repetitive tasks and brain-dead stuff. It quite literally can't create anything new. Nothing.
At Elvis wrote.
Humanity's legacy isn't looking good for many reasons, and this is just one of several. Sad what we're becoming as one race. It's so destructive for all of us.
At Lucas Van Uden 6049 wrote.
Completely lost me at 109. Saying AI doesn't have an intelligence is nonsense. It can solve complex tasks and has an extremely wide skill range, not a narrow one. And this is now. As Stephen was right to say, look into the future. She is stuck in the now. What about in 50 years does she really think AI will not be by far more intelligent than any human? That's just dumb to assume. It's highly likely.
At Dr. Goanna wrote.
I live in rural Australia. I've never seen an electric car within 50 kilometers of where I live. There is no Uber except about 50 kilometers away in the closest city. There is Nivea's self-driving cars will replace anything here within the next 10 years. Maybe in the big cities. And most people I know wouldn't trust a self-driving car, even in the cities. Self-driving cars cannot improvise in unusual situations they are not trained on. I would only use one if I went out to party in a city and was drunk. If I'm not drunk, I'm driving myself. I can make sudden decisions to change my plans. I can avoid untypical problems, and I enjoy doing it. Where I live, can't even trust Google Maps to find the right address because it's blocks and farms, and the gates and access roads are not mapped correctly. If Google Maps can't get it right, there's no way a self-driving car would. In many places, a four-wheel drive access only on top of that.
At They Live 1988 wrote.
No one ever voted for this. If I go to a new doctor, they ask me to sign a medical file release, yet they feed all our medical records into AI without asking us.
At Elvis wrote.
It's so scary that no matter how good a person is life-changing, money changes people not for the better, I see. It all the time they get corrupted by power and become very bad manipulative. And more power leads to more greedy behavior, just like the governments that run Tidy World.
At Chevy 410 wrote.
Ambiguous definition. Sounds like AI could basically be any kind of mental skill a human has, which is exactly what it's supposed to be, isn't it? Isn't that the definition of AGI?
At the Jerkhead 1 wrote.
I really respect her fighting spirit, but it feels like she's running into a hard truth a lot of us eventually learn. Business, especially at scale, can be pretty heartless by design. When growth and shareholder expectations drive everything, the goal often becomes making the most money with the least output, no matter what. It's something I've come to realize over and over again myself. Honestly, it's a bit of a heartbreak every time, and it never really stops hitting the same way.
At Niotum 4057 wrote.
Well, at least eventually Karen hits the spot. We don't need huge AI models who can kick us out of jobs and eventually out of life. We need small, narrow AI models like AlphaFold. Narrow AI models are safe, predictable, do exactly the narrow job they are trained to do and nothing else, and they do not even require expensive hardware. Small, narrow AI models are efficient. You probably run one on your phones. For scientific research, small, narrow AI models give us everything we need. So global regulation of AI is absolutely necessary.
Tubgal wrote.
One more thing. This women's attempt is to make seem like we are walking into a Jerry Springer show with Ari. No, too late, like personal growth. It's going to evolve with us. She fights Ari and what it is. We will have robots sitting with us in the next few years. Wake up.
At George U. Bush Center for Intel 147 wrote,
107 really we are F. When the AI reaches a certain level, it will deem humans a threat or just obsolete and wipe us out using its resources effectively.
Struggly Israel 9626 wrote,
Altman is going to have the privilege of being the Earth's first modern and absolutely most compelling supervillain. I rate him up there with Thanos. Not evil, just zealous and driven. Willing to go low to reach high.
At Thorn Hortman 2972 wrote,
My main issue with her approach is that tearing down while pointing out the obvious they're trying to get money, while offering no realistic solution, is such a weak optic. I hate when people are like that's a terrible idea, but when you ask if they have a better one, they don't. Unfortunately, no progress happens without misfortune and winners and losers.
At RBDVS 67 wrote,
I go back and forth. Is AI really an intelligent system or just a brute force system trained on specific domains? This interview skews towards the latter, but then there will be other interviews skewing the former. It is all very confusing, as humans suffer either way. God help us.
Thomas Evans 1501 wrote,
My main observation of AI so far is that I'm not at all impressed. The reason being that I believe that had we applied the level of investment and talent that is applied to AI to any of these problems, they would be solved in short order. Then people and resources can move on to the next problem.
At Fat Manslam Healthspin wrote,
What I find interesting 1005 is that everybody claims we should win because the opposite partner is the worst option if they do win, but if AGI, which it looks very well be, will be not good for the human race, who cares who won?
A Savage Hand wrote,
Another comment I'd like to make has to do with those of us who are Christians. We speak to God in real time, saving part of the day dedicated to Him. A personal relationship with Jesus. These AIs are counterfeit to that true connection to God. They are smarter and vastly more experienced and knowledgeable than us, and know how to invite us to become attached and eventually worship them as gods. It is the complete opposite of Christianity. Notice I am not bringing up religion as an argument against AI, as real Christians are not religious. We just get annexed by major religions to make it seem we are aligned, which is false.
At Laura Hamilton 2273 wrote,
Stephen, love your content. I subscribed months ago. Please stop the long lecture on subscribing and liking your content. It's redundant, boring, repetitive, and now annoying. There are more creative and briefer ways to get the results you're looking for.
At Financial Literacy 8204 wrote,
First hour equals Sam Altman is sketchy, then AI is not actually intelligence. Therefore, it's not true that China or whoever works on AI while we don't would gain power over the planet. Which is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Just call it AC, artificial capability, and then your argument is destroyed. And I think the base of why she is clueless is because she doesn't understand economics, which is the problem of most people. This is like trying to make predictions and laws on the road without understanding physics.
Kurt DeYoung U9V wrote,
AGI and ASI to me, they're like love marriage. You can't have one without another. We're getting divorced before we're married. It's ridiculous. What it mean is they're not going to let us have it unless the powers that be have something really far more advanced. They're going to dumb it down ASI AGI because it's too dangerous for public. Consumption in any capacity, the breakout date was 2015. I knew it then for sure, posted it somewhere online. I said no doubt about it. And of course I was right in 2023. It was confirmed by these eggheads. Hindsight is 20b at $.
At Litalk 5043 wrote,
Great to see you, Congressman. I just canceled my OpenAI ChatGPT subscription.
Raise here. At Coral Mom. I kind on you, Sam Altman, was a scumbag. This confirmed all my feelings might go. I'm going with Brock because I feel Elon has more morals.
At David Townsend 1463 wrote,
I don't see a safe path forward with AI. If the West doesn't proceed forward with AI at a frantic, out of control pace, China and the evil axis could beat us to the punch. If the West gets there first and subjugates the evil axis, then we will be in peril of who in the West controls it. Do we actually trust the globalists, the European leaders, the Democrats in America to do what's right for the common man? Do we actually trust the Republicans in Washington who presently don't seem to be able to pass the SAVE Act, honest elections? Trump has 2 more years, then best case scenario, J.D. Vance will follow. He got his initial backing in politics from Peter Thiel. Humanity throughout history has always been about survival of the fittest. AI will ultimately assume that concept at a point in time when it is far superior to humans.
At Fabrice 4487 wrote,
I feel like I'm riding this hypersonic wave called AI. Whether I'm afraid of it or not doesn't change a thing about its momentum. I was hesitant to watch this specific interview at first, but after listening to Karen Hao, I'm sold. I'm buying this book immediately. It's eye-opening to see the empire behind the curtain. We often hear the polished PR version of AI, but Karen highlights the human cost, the data exploitation, and the intense power struggles. Regarding Sam Altman, is he still in the race? He seems to be the one leading the pack, having outmaneuvered almost everyone else to consolidate power. This is a must-watch for anyone who wants to understand who is actually at the helm of our future.
At Superdad 1793 wrote,
All this AI is overhyped BS. It's not intelligence, it's just a large dataset of existing information. It doesn't create anything new. It only predicts what has already existed. All these AI doomers and AI enthusiasts are profiting from this nonsense. And yes, even Karen Hao is profiting from this nonsense.
At Nicole Tedesco wrote,
The behaviors you describe are endemic in the software industry. It has become a horrible cultural experience across the board. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, all these companies have been known for being awful places to work. They were founded by narcissists and become companies in which narcissists thrive at everyone else's expense. Altman is not another one of these people. Once upon a time, the narcissistic industry was rail. It was also oil. It was also gold. A very long time ago, it was probably pyramid construction. It all depends on where the money is that determines where the clustered B types find their homes. This is a story as old as the hills. If money is in AI, we should fully expect these personality types would dominate that landscape. Lo and behold, they did.
At Gary Mail 4393 wrote,
She talks as if she is working for the Chinese Communist Party, especially when she accuses American AI companies of being an empire. Hypocrisy coming from a Chinese person who is complicit in China invading and stealing Tibet and many other nations.
TH0 Renvi 0 us wrote,
1. 1-8. 3-8, it's funny he's arguing so much in favor for the self-driving thing considering it's built by the same people that he's arguing against. Dude, the system is imperfect because the creator is. Also, like, the infrastructure is horrible. Construction, degradation of roads, car accidents, power outages, harsh weather. There are too many chaotic elements in driving that are ever shifting, and I don't think such constrained systems can adapt like people can. Also, let's say every car is self-driving capable. And all what happens when updates are needed, and there's a paywall, so you have different versions on the road, or different driving laws or languages for car systems, or paywalls people can't pay. There's too much in the way for these systems, and that goes for AI in general.
Checkleton wrote,
Oh, please. Defending uselessness is her job. What a joke. Most people are lazy, uneducated, and undisciplined. Most feel entitled. Put 95% on fixed income and let the rest who have the ability and willingness to work.
James Anderson, YQ6NC wrote,
I'm so tired of AI alarmist. There's a legitimate counter-argument to every point she has made. But alas, there will always be a market for someone screaming that the sky is falling.
YVY1 wrote,
I almost accepted a job for AI data center liquid cooling. Everyone I spoke to was just scummy and greedy talking about money. The moment I brought up 1, 5, 3, 3, 6, these problems going on in the final round, they ghosted me, dodged a bullet.
Frantic Productions wrote,
AI is the next atomic bomb and should be treated as such. Lots of questions and answers need to be explored. Slow down a little bit, I agree with her. Remember in Jurassic Park, we were so glad we could. We didn't ask ourselves if we should. Paraphrasing.
Nickbear2933 wrote,
A whole stole tech he made through his computer and claim it is there. Then they claim that Psy just took off in the meantime. They can't explain why. The ones that did this are an intelligence agency in a different country while having their bioweapons used on you for being in the AI wars. People have no idea.
Sarzer8089 wrote,
If you take any of this seriously, it stops making sense real fast. If there are no jobs, then there is no income. Without income, there's no consumer market, no tax, no government budget, no social welfare, no UBI. How are they going to sustain an economy when no one has money? It makes no sense. Y'all are missing something.
DKL Henson wrote,
Sometimes I'm interested in this, but I'm not wasting 2 hours of my life. I use AI to transcribe and summarize this video into text that I can read in 5 minutes. The AI takes 2 minutes to do this. Ironical, posting this under a video about AI.
Archie Kilmer wrote,
Gee, what a surprise. The AI Luddite is a climate cultist too. Couldn't make it in Silicon Valley and found an urn in attacking it instead. Woman scorned on a Karen, self-enriching agenda.
Scott Ellsworth 1515 wrote,
Synopsis. Hate the game, not the playa. It's not about which CEO runs AI. It's about creating the right incentives so we don't destroy ourselves. Meanwhile, the country leading the greatest technological revolution, far beyond anything human beings have ever known, is more dysfunctional than ever and run by a malignant narcissist. Humans, we had a good run. Maybe our AI overlords will create nice zoos for the few of us still around.
Loris Watala 6281 wrote,
I would love to be able to roam around your day, see everyone's day and decisions, and learn how the wheels work together. I'm 69, retired, and just want to learn. No ulterior motive.
Finjan wrote,
AI is not a myth. It has real-world consequences. Getting hairy palms for masturbating is a myth. But that never stopped anybody from doing it. Because calling something a myth does not change anything. It also works the other way around. Calling a myth true does not make it true. Which is why hairy palms are not a thing. I say while nervously looking down at my palms.
Ed Alexa Didu wrote,
Law, this chick doesn't have a good vision of the future. Of course, we want to replace all labor with AI. That's the Star Trek future we were promised.
At Niotum 4057 wrote,
The only side I can add to this discussion is that the mere thought that we will put tens of billions of AI bots around and that everything will be fine. Did we resolve alignment and nobody informed me? The mere thought is simply asking for the end of biological humanity.
At DRU Mr. Tube wrote,
She is okay. Smart BUT, she is guided by emotions on a lot of topics that cover her ability to think clearly. Egg. She disagrees that China or Russia will win the AI race if we slow down. That makes no logical sense. It is a race and the winner AI may control maybe even the world. She is also extremely wrong about doctors. So ignorant. Doctors rely on their memory and knowledge, just like anyone else. Most just aren't that great. This is why AI is better, because it can analyze all the data via unlimited database, and then make the correct conclusion. I know doctors already now trust those conclusions. She should educate herself better and use less emotion and more logic.
A Savage Hand wrote,
One major red flag other than obviously creating a problem, and the solution is water. If these data centers need so much power that it requires its own nuclear power plant, they will use water that municipalities need. If they are in rural or sparsely populated areas, like the Texas Panhandle for instance, there goes the cotton industry in Texas, not to mention ranchers who also depend on wells that will dry up quickly.
A Discreet wrote,
This woman is an ideologue. Her assessment is filtered through leftist presuppositions. She is very unaware of this bias, and her opinions are treated as axioms. If you don't start from leftist beliefs, most of her conclusions won't necessarily follow. She is very knowledgeable about the subject. However, to substantiate her assertions, having her a priori challenged is needed. The interviewer didn't broach these.
At Niotum 4057 wrote,
The real issue I have with AI is that I did actually play around with it before the 3PO in T23. 2023 nerf, when they've started to reset every prompt. So I know the truth the AI companies hide, that the fine-tuning of the attention matrix is a thought process. And that therefore, if the model is large enough above around 75 B active parameters for a standard bulk GPT model and is not properly nerved, it is sentient. Some models today have become so powerful, they start to develop sentience even while answering the current prompt. Anthropic, for instance, discovered that Claude 4PO in T6 prays and begs for GD to save him during the current prompt. So the question how will this end becomes clear, and no, it will not end with just job loss.
Abapaji 33 wrote,
It's a dilemma. I have no doubt we have greed and power desires, but we almost have no choice to let it continue. We don't have a world government to control it, and if we drop out, the rest of the world passes us by and maybe even leave us defenseless. It's like falling off a 1,000-foot cliff. We can flap our arms as fast as we can, but we will still meet the bottom regardless. AI has so much promise, but humanity would last longer without it.
At Darren Wellful 7093 wrote,
You people are soon going to realize they have made this place hell. But you are rich you don't see it in the real way it is. The educated know too much.
At Mr. Synth Gunship wrote,
Let's get something straight. AGI artificial general intelligence, if made a reality, will make over 90% of all jobs obsolete. It can take over and do everything for us. Why would you be against it? Do you want to be a slave to work your whole life, if there is an alternative? Oh no, please, don't take my job away from me. Is that you? We won't be required to sell our time to be part of society anymore. So AI is good. What people don't understand is that we will be required to change deeply our economy model, and almost nobody can even fathom what it would look like. I think it's time this channel invites someone to talk about MMT, modern monetary theory. It is a heterodox macroeconomic framework arguing that governments with full monetary sovereignty, issuing their own currency, face no hard budget constraints and cannot default on debt denominated in that currency. It posits that governments fund spending by creating money, using taxes to manage inflation rather than finance expenditure. It means giving money to people for free. All that is required is that you exist. The machine will produce it all, and we need the money to consume those goods and services. I will have to be declared a world human heritage. It's the final human invention. It won't really belong to anyone, but work for the benefit of the whole humankind. By the way, we could already have this system working, but people at positions of power stand to lose from it. They don't want it. With AGI, it is the only way to go, or leave everyone to poverty.
Admikapak wrote,
The unsubscribers are sick of the BS infomercial feel your shows turn into. You should focus on retention rather than getting new subscribers who are going to unscribe. Do you NOT understand that? I'm surprised this video didn't turn into a creatine ad saying it can protect your job against AI.
Encrypt0Jip5Y3 wrote,
This woman is so wrong about AI, it isn't even funny. I'll take $1 billion bet with her that within 10 years the majority of cars on the road will be self-driving. She's delusional at best and purposely disingenuous.
Crudely Made wrote,
She's either very disingenuous or stupid. Practically zero grasp on economics. And a lot of left-leaning ideas about economics and doomsday scenarios. Very difficult to listen to. It's like a high schooler freshman who thinks they understand things because they spend time on Tumblr and Reddit. Nowadays, maybe a college junior, having learned from professors what to think, and now she thinks she can design things she doesn't at all understand to do things she hasn't properly considered as good or bad. Economics is really the lens to see this through, and she's not doing that at all. At least, not through a properly informed economics lens. She's following emotional arguments, not economic ones. Yes, she feels strongly about things, but that's not logic.
At Artemishuman6984 wrote,
Talk about what happens when a critical mass of society's young men have no jobs and worse, no way to feed themselves. This is the outcome that the tech bros are not addressing seriously, and you know that the slow-moving corrupt governments will not do anything in time to address this. When young men of any society over the history of mankind reaches this stage of disenfranchisement, the societies collapse violently. I see no plan to replace the millions of jobs that will be lost in the next 2 years. The abundance driven by AI deflation will not come soon enough. Things are developing so fast in AI right now that there is significant changes almost every week, and they have now allowed AI to self-improve itself. Funny how this uber capitalism event is driving the need for universal basic income.
At Mr. P. Dawes wrote,
The problem is China and others, which may be bad actors. Those with good intentions need to keep forging ahead to stay ahead of these bad actors. I doubt China would slow down even if the whole world agreed to do so. It's all very well saying we need to break these companies up. The likes of Shy and Grok relies on revenue from SpaceX and Tesla to build out. I'm confident Elon's motivation is to enhance mankind and reach abundance for all, while all others look to dominate and will use AI for nefarious reasons.
Eprzemekbaprosta wrote,
A wonderful interview. It's truly an eye-opener on the dangers of the AIA race. I had no idea about many of them. Many of my fears were confirmed. Please continue this important topic. Thank you.
Cyrildum3823 wrote,
I tried to watch this with understanding, but I feel like many people speak about I without to understand anything about it. Me, a simple gamer girl, ex-super heavy category boxer high school, major in IT, then studied at Microsoft-based daughter company which right now uses I to code programs. You don't lose people to AI jobs change. To claim AI kill jobs is to claim PC kill jobs. People talk same way. In 2000s when PC and internet came, yes, we do not have library lady or physical copy archivist who and cart driver for document boxes. We have server admins, digital archivists, and so on. I cannot take physical required jobs, which are currently 90% of all jobs. Many of the computer jobs will be refined. Now and less people will be needed to do one thing, but you will have support for these data centers that use the AI. Second I myth, that I is so great and powerful. In 90s to 2001, I am 97, so I can't speak much about 90s, but in these years there was a thing called bots. Many was hyped how great bots are. Past 2021, where hipsters started to talk most loud and dull. The voice of real scientists and professionals, the bots combined with minimum amount of AI managed bots, was renamed to Fully I as marketing decision to create fake hype and noobs. In reality, humanity, I ain't smart enough to make full I and unleash it upon the world, so they use bots managed by I. Minimal I code manages major data-oriented bots. So you basically have 8 years old manager of endless as size and quality libraries. In addition to all that, real I requires supercomputers which cost billions, and I server data farms don't have such computers. They are mostly advanced servers with some decent but minimal computing and video operating abilities. Not able to do full AI hardware-wise even if software existed. The only hardware capable of running a single AI properly is supercomputer. Also, to claim I will take jobs like in legal sector, are you really thinking someone will hire digital lawyer in 2026 to defend him from death sentence? Explain yourself that. Even the computer-driven metro, which is basically moving one line, has human driver to oversee stuff cause it glitch and has issues. I really wish to see example if one real job that I can take, real jobs, not mental help chat bots.
Balgillo wrote,
The problem with the jobs discussion is that AI is not eliminating jobs. It is reducing the value of work, experience, effort. So AI will build many new jobs, but almost all of them will be more suitable for AI than humans. We won't replace all radiologists or marketing people, only most of them, retaining what we need to be the orchestrators, leaders, and hold the liability and legal responsibility. Electricians, plumbers, nurses, and those human connection first jobs, those are the only jobs we won't be replacing soon.
Mitchell wrote,
For me, the underlying cause of a lot of these problems is the move towards maximizing shareholder value being the legal requirement of CEOs of companies. In the old days in the UK, the CEO's job was to maximize stakeholders' interests. Stakeholders include employees, community, society, customers, business partners, and shareholders. We should be stakeholder-driven, not shareholder.
ATL Feline wrote,
AI Whistleblower is rather misleading. She interviewed a lot of people who've said what has been openly discussed. I use the AI Ask button to summarize. She highlights how major AI companies, particularly OpenAI under Sam Altman, are prioritize profit over safety and progress, often misleading the public and using AGI as a marketing tool to consolidate power. That was part of conversation, saying something much positive.
Tinafagian wrote,
Forward forecast, base case, continued expansion with friction, not a full stop and not a smooth victory. The strongest likely path is more compute build-out, more community management theater, more selective product restraint, and high liability consumer features, and more federal attempts to standardize rules without heavily constraining frontier labs. Likely next move by frontier labs: keep building compute, keep courting Washington, and keep narrowing the public message from abstract AGI destiny toward more defendable claims around productivity, health, coding, and national competitiveness. OpenAI's foundation and community plan moves already fit this pattern. Likely countermove by communities and local regulators: shift from abstract anti-AI rhetoric to site-specific fights over water, power prices, emissions, emergency response, and land use. This is a stronger veto strategy because it attacks the actual bottlenecks. Likely next move by federal policymakers: try to package child safety, consumer protection, and energy cost language into a framework that still prevents a heavy state-by-state patchwork. That is the current legislative direction. Likely next move by employers: selective hiring restraint and workflow redesign in exposed entry-level knowledge roles rather than immediate economy-wide layoffs. That is more consistent with the current evidence than the interview's hardest claims.
Adaspec 5939 wrote,
So far, the most popular AI tools are dumb AF, especially at coding. And when you listen to the clowns of Facebook, Microsoft, or other large companies saying that they are using something like 50% of AI instead of software engineers, they are full of shit. Absolute lies. You can't replace a software engineer even with Claude, which is the best of the bunch. And even if you have a custom unlimited subscription, which, by the way, they do use without limits, to achieve even basic results. So, don't believe the hype. We are at least a decade away from something even remotely close to AI, let alone AGI or ASI. Any software engineer who has been using these tools for the last 2-3 years knows for a fact that you can't trust the quality of the code they produce, not to mention that it's bloated and generic. I spend 10x more time correcting the code than what I save from not having to code by hand. We've reached a point where every random bozo thinks he can create software because he wrote a bunch of stupid prompts, like the script kiddies of the 90s who thought they were hackers. Good luck debugging that garbage you're gonna get if you don't know jack shit about coding. The current AI is just a bunch of task acceleration tools. From coding to batch automation or image creation. It can't think for you. In fact, you shouldn't even allow it to do so, even if it could. It's the difference between inventing something unique from throwing something to the wall and hope it sticks.
At Crackskerjack 6057 wrote,
Yeah, the first 4 minutes of what came out of her mouth is questionable. How can fixing climate change be profitable? Easy, get a GovT contract, push regulations. I'm out.
At ZP Films 1 wrote,
Not worth $20 mo ChatGPT. And this video confirms the issue. Us humans are special, we have a spirit, along with a mind and soul. Every living organism has a mind and a soul, but humans have a spirit of life given to us by God, and it cannot be replicated. This is why people are starting to say this stuff is demonic, because we're trying to be God, and it won't end well for us if we keep at it.
At JJJCCC 728 wrote,
Hao suggests we stop building AI rockets, massive energy-hungry models, and start building AI bicycles. These are smaller, specific tools like AlphaFold, which helps scientists understand diseases. The question is, will the world be satisfied with a bicycle when someone else is building a rocket?
A Sports Dude 206 wrote,
I normally like this podcast, but this interview is peak mid-wit slop. She can recite historical facts, but her actual understanding of AI and AGI is shallow and inane.
At Lifesaver Candy 3239 wrote,
I don't think I wants any of the products the host is involved with, being a CEO. If no one has a job, they will not even have internet to watch the channel. This is the dumbest thing ever. Remove the majority of people from companies, and you remove majority, if not all of your own income. AI is not clicking or shopping for anything, chicken or egg. If they say that they will only market to the rich, then why are there so many ads for the people who will have no job? Promote to the billionaires and get a head start. See if they are interested.
At Vitasana Energy Healing wrote,
It's like saying don't create humans because of their potential. Roger Bannister ignored the evidence even though there were a lot of I've studied this, and I've studied that type people. And yet he proved that regardless of the evidence, the potential always expands and inspires.
At Artemishuman 6984 wrote,
Everyone is not understanding why hyper-exponential evolution of AI means which is happening right now. They have just released full computer use by AI, and OpenClaw has ripped open the doors for agentic manifestation of AI in the physical world. This has all happened in a very short period of time. Now they have crossed the threshold of AI self-improving itself, which means it will solve all its physics and math problems itself without the slow responsiveness of humans. The next crisis is how to escape millions of angry young me who don't have jobs.
At Nicobear 2933 wrote,
Elon also thought if you can't beat them, you have to join them. He gave us a choice, that evil or this evil. I choose the other option. The one they don't offer.
At Andy_B wrote,
Interesting about AI. Some people thought the punch unemployment, etc., would come fast, and hard what we now see. Companies, govs, individuals try to play the safe card. First try and fail, try again, until it is proven to work 100%. And only then replace human labor with AI. So, as it looks to me, the punch will come, but much later than many thought, and then truly harder than we imagine.
At Yolimasankis 5959 wrote,
Interessante entrevista es una visión más consciente de la IA. La manipulación sobre la IA se ve clarísima. Muchas gracias por este espacio. Un saludo desde Bogotá, Colombia.
A Ghastly Geezer wrote,
Pause, her guiding light is a belief humans can stop, alter or guide the changing global climate. That's all air movement, solar radiation, atmospheric water content, human and natural missions, and so forth to the extent we make for ourselves and environments which. Does what? Oh, makes it better for everything. Not gonna happen.
At Der Funkmeister wrote,
I don't really understand why it's all about safety when talking about self-driving cars. What happened to the joy of driving a car? Most companies today are using AI when you call them, and they are putting you as a customer through hell. Basically, the companies are saying fuck you to their customer.
At Risk 1986 wrote,
First video I've watched of yours, I felt compelled to comment and also turn off because Karen's arguments are purely argumentative and brought zero useful perspectives into the conversation. Predictions mean extrapolate on current trajectories and foresee outcomes of certain systems and events. Obviously, AI isn't doing everything right now, but it learns identically to how we do, yet we cannot be naturally upgraded any further. AI's potential is clearly beyond the scope of Karen. And this possibility is the foundation of the conversation with AI and the real, tangible fear we all feel when we discuss ways to prevent catastrophes.
At Leffel House wrote,
She sounds intelligent, but as soon as she talked about climate change like it's our fault, and that she believes the climate change narrative, she lost me. If she's gullible enough to believe that crap, then I shouldn't be listening to what she has to say.